This is the new American media. Live from Los Angeles, California. Happy Unhappy Hour, everybody. My name's Brian Engelman. I'm going to be your host. And we're going to talk some sports. Rumors have it that LeBron James has won his 4th Most Valuable Player award. Rumor also has it that Mike Brown is the head coach of the Cavaliers. That's actually confirmed. Will that impact the 4-time MVP's decision to potentially come back and become the small-town hero again, the hometown boy makes good kind of thing? Will that make an impact? Will Mike Brown's hiring have anything to do with it? I'm only saying it because Zach brings it up every time we talk. We're going to talk with NBA scout and lifelong Cleveland sports fan Zak Baris. Bring him in just a second over here. Plus you got all of the stuff going on in the NBA. You got all the playoffs. So we'll talk about that in a second. By the way, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, we just had our 2-year anniversary for all of our sites. Unofficially, it's the NFL Draft. Just that's a better time to party since I'm usually... No. As a Cleveland Browns fan, that's one of the happiest days of the year. Yay, we're going to turn it all around with this one draft. Yay! But it happens with franchises all the time. It is possible. But if you haven't subscribed, we're youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia. Please click subscribe. I don't know how many views and how many, getting up on 90,000 video views. You know, so it's been pretty good. Pretty good. It's a slow burn, but we're getting there. Join our 32,000 on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Subscribe over there. I'm sorry, follow us. Yeah, there's follow, there's subscribe, there's like. So search The New American Media on Facebook and like our page, please. And check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. We're going to have new contributors adding some content. More to come. More details on the way. But we're going to talk about all these NBA things, especially UFC as MMA. Yeah, I know you're going to be listening to this. You always listen to these. What's up, brother? Yeah, always listens, always comments. And he was giving me grief lately. He's like, come on, man, where's the NBA? I'm like, dude, give me a second. I had 2 cool guests on Agree to Disagree today. We just spoke with Stuart Rhodes. He's the founder of Oath Keepers. If you don't know who Oath Keepers are, please check them out. Oathkeepers.org. And then last week we talked with John B. Wells, voiceover actor and Saturday night host of Coast to Coast AM. He's a friend of ours. He's been on our program many times. So sorry, UFC is MMA, if that is your real name. Actually, you told me your real name. I forget. Sorry though. But yeah, so it's been a busy couple of weeks. A lot of stuff going on in the sports. It's kind of been pushed to the back burner. So fear not, fret not. We're gonna bring in Mr. Zak Baris to talk some NBA action right now. You know, and that reminds me with Zach, by the way. We keep meaning to meet up. I'm going to bring that up.
Hello?
Zach, you are live on the air. How's it going, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream. I was just saying, before you picked up the phone, I was saying, you know, we keep trying to find an opportunity to hang out one of these days. We're in the same city. Well, you're a jet setter. You're all over the continent of North America. But when you're in town, we do need to find a chance to meet up and do something.
Definitely soon.
All right. Well, this is kind of like your busy season. This is like your I don't know, your summer rush or whatever. This is your busy season.
Yeah, up until the very end of June, I'm like, it's all over the place.
And then do you actually chill out in June? Because last year was weird with the Olympics, with everything. So you didn't.
Last year was different. This year, I will have a lot of free time come the night after the draft.
Oh, okay. Well. Anyway, to be continued. I was just kind of talking out loud to myself, saying, yeah, we keep trying to do that. Well, all right. So after the draft, we'll connect. We'll do something. By the way, if you want to connect with Zach, he's on Twitter. Follow him. He's funny. If you don't mind PG-13 to R-rated tweets from time to time, check him out. He's Z Baris. That's Z-B-A-R-I-S. Definitely stay connected with him over there. There's a few topics I want to cover, Zach. Let's go backward because we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. Mike Brown, LeBron James, and Dan Gilbert. Let's just start with Mike Brown and Chris Grant and Dan Gilbert. were they overzealous in getting rid of Mike Brown in the first place? Was it they didn't appreciate him until they got another clown in there? Did they think that changing it was gonna affect LeBron's decision? What do you think about the decision to rehire Mike Brown is what I'm getting at.
Obviously, Gilbert's original plan was completely, the reason he fired Mike Brown and hired Byron Scott in the first place was because he thought it would help lure LeBron back to town. I mean, I think that's why he did it. I mean, I don't know if he really wanted to get rid of Mike Brown. Maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction, for them losing. But, I mean, he obviously admitted a mistake. A couple weeks ago when this whole thing came about, I thought, I didn't actually think it was serious. I said, there's no way this is going to happen. I remember saying on the air I was wrong. And I didn't actually think they had the stones to go and rehire Mike Brown, but they did, And from everything I'm hearing now, it doesn't matter who the coach is when LeBron comes back. If he does, or wherever he goes, it does not make that big of a difference. He was willing to play for Eric Spoelstra in Miami, who had never won anything down there at the time. Now he's proven himself to be a pretty damn good coach. And, so the Cavaliers put themselves in position. Gilbert made himself look pretty bad by doing something like that, but he did admit a mistake. Dan Gilbert, though, at the same time, needs to stop tweeting all the time, going basically, he says, basically, I still remember the day he fired Mike Brown. He said, he mentioned something about championship teams aren't built solely on defense, and then he goes, the other day and tweets, he's like, championships are won with defense first. I was like, oh my God, this guy just needs to stop.
Well, he's learning too. He's learning too. He's a new owner.
It's not nothing against Dan Gilbert, but you don't see a lot of owners tweeting all the time and saying stuff like that. Mark Cuban's the only one.
Yeah, Cuban for sure.
Basically, he'll say that stuff, and Cuban pushes it to the limit sometimes too. But Cuban does have a championship ring, and so it's a little bit harder to basically rag on Cuban. But I am surprised the Cavaliers hired Mike Brown. But looking at all the names available on the market, like I said, anyways, they were never going to wind up with Phil Jackson as a coach. And, they didn't hire him in a team president role. I don't even know if he was ever approached about that, but that was one of the, scenarios I had said about the Cavs, and then hiring Brian Shaw, I think would have been a decent route to go on to also. But right now, Phil Jackson, the Pistons have hired him as an advisor to hire their next coach. It's not like Phil's coming in there to coach the Pistons, because he's not. He's hired as an advisor. So I think he's basically, set his role. I mean, he may have wanted $10 million a year for the team president role. I don't know, but I think the Cavaliers hired the best available coach on the open market when they hired Mike Brown. There just weren't a lot of great coaches. Stan Van Gundy didn't want to come coach the Cavs, and a lot of players don't like Stan Van Gundy. So, it leaves you with a lot of limited options.
You mean Dwight Howard wouldn't have came back? He wouldn't have come to the Cavaliers if we had Stan Van Gundy?
Well, I don't know about that one.
Well, okay. How about the Lakers then? Let's bounce over that. Yeah, just to wrap it. I'll get to the Lakers in a second. I want to wrap the LeBron James thing up because I don't want to talk about him anymore. But rumors are right now that he's won his 4th MVP. Was it even close this year?
No. He was by far the best player in the game. He deserved to win it. I think the most bitter of bitter Cleveland fans would have voted for him for MVP this year. That's how good of a year he had.
I would have voted for him. I would have just been unhappy about it because he's been the best player for 6 or 7 years. He has 4 MVPs, but he could have had 6 or 7.
There's a good chance when he hits the free agent market next year. There's a very good chance that he'll have already had 5 MVPs with 2 or 3 titles to go along with it. So he has a chance to make his mark, and he has the chance to finish his career as the greatest player ever. I'm saying that, he has the chance. I'm not saying he will, but if everything keeps going down the current road he's on, he has a very good chance to finish out with 8 or 9 MVPs.
Yeah. He's playing at the top of his game. He's not slowing down, Let's talk about the Lakers.
He's only getting better at this point.
Yeah. He's got the mental toughness now. But anyway, it'll make me sick if I got to mention his name or talk about his awesome game anymore because I don't root for him anymore. But anyway, moving on to a team that's in my backyard. How about the Lakers? Talking about getting older and getting better. They're not getting better. Kobe gets injured. Dwight may or may not stay. Meta World Peace is talking about the two best centers in the league being, what was it, Marc Gasol and Tim Duncan. And it's like, are you even trying to recruit this guy back?
Well, it looks like Meta's probably going to be amnestied is what it looks like. I mean, if you're going down basically and looking down at the road and saying, okay, the Lakers have to get rid of some pieces. There's no way they're going to be paying, this much for the luxury tax for a 50-win team next year, maybe 50-win team. I don't even know. It depends on when Kobe's out, if Dwight returns. It all hinges on a lot of things. And when you take a look at it and you say, okay, Meta World Peace making what, $7-8 million, I think $7 million a year, $8 million a year, amnesty him, get him out of the way, and I think they're going to make their attempt to re-sign Dwight. Do I think Dwight ends up in LA? Yes. Do I think it's his best basketball fit? No. I think he'd be a much better fit going to Houston. Because in Houston, you're looking at a team right now, granted Oklahoma City is injured, but, this is a team taking OKC to the brink right now, and they're a 45-win team without Dwight Howard. You bring Dwight Howard into the picture, you're suddenly looking at a team that's going to be winning in the 60s. You're looking at a number 1 or 2 seed in the Western Conference with Dwight. So basketball-wise, his best fit from a pure basketball standpoint is in Houston. But overall, the allure of LA is definitely, in the lights of Hollywood, it's definitely something to think about. I could never picture myself wanting to leave for less money from LA to go to Houston. That's just me personally, and I don't think many other people in LA, I think many other people in LA would think the same as I do. So I don't, it's hard to see Dwight. It's harder and harder to see Dwight leaving at this point. But anything is possible. It's not like he's made a commitment to the Lakers. You haven't seen him publicly commit yet, which is kind of surprising. I tend to think if he was truly sold on staying in LA, that he would have made his commitment during the season. Basically said, I'm here. This is where I want to be. But he hasn't done that yet, and I still don't know why. I really don't. If he's planning on staying here, which I really do think he is, I'm still curious to know why he hasn't made.
I'll tell you why. I watched LeBron not make his commitment.
The fan base.
Dude, LeBron didn't make his commitment, and we knew it happened. He didn't make Dwight didn't make a commitment in Orlando, and you saw what happened. He's not staying. I don't think he is. I could be wrong. I mean, my gut's saying absolutely not.
Everything's saying at one point going, how is he going to walk away from this team? Like, how is I know he doesn't have a strong allegiance to the Lakers. He hasn't been here 7 years, but I'm saying it's LA. I understand if a player leaves the Clippers, it makes a lot of sense. But the Lakers are, they're such a well-touted organization. They receive so much praise. They have 16 championships. They have everything. Your beautiful arena is everything you can ask for. And that's why I see it being hard to walk away from this. Even though the talent's not, I don't think LA has the talent to win a championship right now. Will they maybe in a year? Yeah. When all these free agents hit the market in a year from now in 2014, will Dwight be able to help recruit him to LA? I think so. But I really don't know what Dwight's plan is. I mean, he's the only one who knows at this point. But I do tend to think he will resign in LA. I just don't know if he will. I just don't know yet. But my thought is I think he will.
Well, the Spurs swept him 4-0. How strong are the Spurs looking right now, or was that just a pretty banged-up Lakers team?
They look good, but that was a pretty banged-up Lakers team. I think most teams would have taken them in 4. I mean, they just got blown out of the water. And without Nash, without Steve Blake got hurt, their backcourt was, at one point it was, Darius Morris, and Andrew Goodlock. I mean, like they just didn't have the talent to beat the Spurs. And granted, a healthy Laker team wouldn't have beaten the Spurs anyways. They would have probably lost that 1-5 anyways if they were healthy.
Okay, well then, same deal with Miami versus Milwaukee. That was a 4-0
sweep.
sweep.
Yeah, we all knew that was. I predicted a 4-0 in that one. Boston took the Knicks to 6. I think that's what I predicted.
Hold on, we'll get to Boston in a sec. You're jumping the gun here. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And then the one series where I was wrong, and I admit it, was Golden State Denver. I knew it would be a good series, but I thought Denver was one of those teams that could definitely make a run this year in the Western Conference, especially with the injuries in San Antonio and Oklahoma City. They were one of those teams that I really had high hopes for. But I guess lacking that star player, the one with the killer instinct, really, really hurt them. And, and Golden State looks phenomenal. That was by far, I think it's been the best series of the playoffs so far. I think that's been the best in the West. And you have Bulls Nets in the East has been the best in that, in the Eastern Conference.
The Pacers knocked out the Hawks as well.
Thank God that series is over. That has been the most unentertaining basketball I've ever watched in my life. Like having to sit through that for a little bit watching it, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I got you.
It's been bad basketball. I do not enjoy watching the Atlanta Hawks.
You've done, ever since I've known you, you've done nothing but rag on the Hawks.
They're not a team I like to watch. They do little. They do so little. It's like every time what's going to happen with them. So, and it'll be cool though to see a Pacers Knicks series and the winner of Bulls Nets against Miami. It's just too bad that Derrick Rose isn't playing because it's going to be very, very tough for Chicago to beat Miami, especially because Chicago is so beat up right now.
Hold on. We're talking Chicago, Miami. They're still playing Brooklyn. That's 3-3. Right
well,
now.
I'm saying if Chicago were to beat Brooklyn,
that's a
Luol
big
Deng's
if.
out.
Yeah.
Nate Robinson's sick, and then you're suddenly going. If they win on Saturday, they got to play in Miami Monday night. It's going to be very, very tough for the Bulls. Just because there's no rest factor. You have no rest.
Where is Game 7 there?
Game 7 is in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
On Saturday,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Saturday late afternoon. Well, LA is late afternoon at 4:30.
How have you been to the Barclays Center? I think you said you did once.
No, I have not been there since it opened. I have not
okay.
been there this season.
Yeah, because I think it's pretty good home court there. A lot of hungry fans.
It's not as you would. I mean, it's not that loud of an arena. It's from what I've heard. I've had coworkers and friends over there. They said it's not that loud. But it is a cool arena, I'll tell you that from what I've heard. I've been to Madison Square Garden before, though. That's a distinct home court advantage right there.
Well,
but
tell me about the Knicks and Celtics. I mean, is this the final hurrah? Are they going to break up the Celtics? What do the Celtics do now?
I don't know. Every year I think Danny Ainge is going to break up the Celtics, and then something tells me, is he really going to trade Paul Pierce? Who's been a lifelong Celtic and very loyal to the team, especially a guy from LA. Who went, who rode with some tough years with that team, and stayed with them, never demanded a trade, and then, Ainge basically rewarded him with, Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. I really don't know what they're going to do, but, is Kevin Garnett going to retire? He says he is, so assume Garnett's off the books. I think you have to look at trading Paul Pierce.
Were you surprised that the Knicks dropped 2? Or, I mean, you said that you predicted it in 6 anyway, so you figured there was going to be a little back and forth. I was surprised the Knicks lost it all, actually.
Oh, I was too. After watching the first 3 games of that series, I was like, I was wrong. I thought this was going to be a competitive series. And then Boston came back in Game 4, and then, Game 5, it was just, Boston throws some fight in them. In the playoffs, they're one of those teams, I guess, in the playoffs that you just don't want to face. Even as being as beat up as they were and having Rondo out and as old as they are, they were still able to put together a good series.
2 wins is better than getting swept like the Bucks or the Lakers. I mean, I'm going to get to the Clippers in a second here because they're 1 game away from being the. Who would have thought that the Warriors might be the best team in California at this point? Hey, we'll get to that in a second because I want to get back to the Nets and the Bulls though. It's 3-3. It seems like Chicago had their chance, and I've been seeing some of the fans are starting to get on Derrick Rose like, dude, get out here. What's going on? Just talk about the series. Brook Lopez is a very solid player. They've put some good pieces, Joe Johnson and stuff around him. The Nets are playing solid, but this is a dogfight too. It's 3-3 coming down to Game 7. What have you noticed in that series as you've been watching it?
Nate Robinson looks fantastic so far. And, the only reason, if this was a healthy Bulls team, and I'm not even saying with Derrick Rose, I'm saying this is, I'm talking from the season. If this is a healthy Bulls team going into this series without Derrick Rose, like they've been all season, they would have won the series in 5. It's just been really, really tough with all these players sick and injured. Luol Deng, they thought might have had meningitis. He didn't. But he had to get a spinal tap. He's that sick. Taj Gibson's been, he's been hurting. Nate Robinson's been sick. Kirk Heinrich's out. It's a lot to endure. When you're missing your starting guards and, you're missing a lot of pieces and you're playing with a 7-man rotation after, and these guys are just so tired because they've been playing over 40 minutes all season. in order to win ball games, and it's just very tough.
Yeah, well, it's Game 7. I wonder who's going to win that one. If I were a betting man, I might avoid this one.
The Bulls are 0-6 in Game 7 all time on the road.
That's not good. That doesn't bode well.
No. So, I mean, I wonder if the trend's going to break here. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we're going to. Let's get over here to OKC and Houston then, because obviously that. Ooh, hang on. I'm sorry, I digress. I want to talk about Nate Robinson again. What he did the other night to will that team back from going down. Can you just elaborate on what you saw to Nate Robinson? I'm sorry, I almost totally avoided that, and I thought that was astonishing.
It was one of the best playoff performances you're ever going to see. He was dominant. He had a dominant game. Took him to triple overtime. He's had a couple dominant games this postseason where he's just looked fantastic. Chicago's on the brink of losing, and he just brings them right back. He's been great. What a great addition this season. He's making less than $2 million. And he's provided so much needed, so much necessary scoring for the Bulls this season. He's been great. He's helped them win so many games. And especially the other night, coming in there and having to play, extended minutes and just basically take over a game. That's what he's done. He's definitely earned his payday for next year. I'll say that.
Yeah, I that was such a great stretch. That was such a good run. Very much a fan. Very much a fan of that. And Westbrook over for the Thunder. Jumping over here to Oklahoma City now. That injury is really tough. Durant's been doing what he can. They're still up somehow, but it's 3-2 now.
Sam Presti gets a lot of praise for being a great GM. Yes, he's drafted incredibly well, but he's made some very, very bad trades as an NBA GM. And you have to start with the James Harden trade. He traded. I ripped the trade at the beginning of the year. Yeah, I still remember that. I think we talked 2 weeks in a row before the season when he made that trade, how badly I ripped it. And, he essentially got Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and what's going to be a late lottery pick. Most likely, it's going to be a late lottery pick. Well, if it's a top 3 pick, it goes back to Toronto, so it is a late lottery pick. In a draft that doesn't have a ton of talent. And so he didn't get that many pieces, for James Harden. He traded a superstar player. He probably traded a 10-time All-Star, away for a couple of bench pieces. That's what it looks like now. And if they had a healthy James Harden right now, where would this team be? Without Russell Westbrook, I think they would be okay. I still think they would win the West. I don't think they can win the West without Westbrook right now. They traded Harden away. You have enough a few years ago where they made the trade, and Sam Presti, a lot of people won't realize this, traded Eric Bledsoe away. When they drafted Bledsoe at the 18th pick in the 2010 draft, they wound up trading Bledsoe away. A lot of people don't realize that, but that was another bad trade. Eric Bledsoe is one of the best backup point guards in the league.
Yeah, sometimes it's the trades you don't make that are going to help you out more. I don't know. I'm just thinking of the Cavs when I look at all this stuff with Varejao and what happens when you get try to re-sign Kyrie and if you can bring anybody in 2014. It's just so many moves. I don't know. It's fun. It's kind of fun playing chess with people, real people, on a court. That's essentially what's going on. I mean, trading contracts. I mean, you saw. Well, I don't know the curse of Rocky Calavito with the Indians and Babe Ruth with the Red Sox, of course, but. Yeah, that James Harden trade, especially since they're playing James Harden during the first round, it just accentuates. Man, if that beard was in my uniform, that would be better than it is. Who wins this series? Can OKC hold on? And if they do, are they just a sacrificial lamb?
I think they can hold on. I think they should hold on. I'm not saying that they're going to win the series. I think they should. They're up by a few points right now. They should hang on. But I want this series to go to 7 games. I'm having a lot of fun watching the series.
Yeah, well, they're fun teams to watch. Like it's not Pacers Hawks. It's something.
And Kevin Durant's had since Westbrook went down. Kevin Durant's he's been unbelievable. His numbers are outstanding since he's really taken over. And this is what NBA stars do. This is why it's fun to watch. But I think they're going to have a lot of problems if they wind up having to face Memphis in the next series. I think Memphis will give them a lot of trouble. They've been playing really, really well. I ripped Memphis after they traded Rudy Gay, and then they traded the rest of their bench to the Cavaliers in order to get under the luxury tax. But Memphis has kept it up. They've been playing well, and now it looks like, they have a chance to come out of the West. They have a real chance to come out of the West because of the injuries for Oklahoma City. And they're one of those teams that can present a lot of problems because of Randolph and Gasol. And Mike Conley's good, but they present a lot of problems up front for teams because they have so much size and so much scoring in their front court.
Okay, well, let's get to that game then, because Clippers are down, but they're not out. They're playing tonight for their playoff lives. What's going on there? I mean, did we anticipate? I mean, because I guess, we've talked about this over the past few months, Zach, and I guess you and I have always kind of had the Clippers and the Grizzlies as both. I think there were three teams. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it kind of Nuggets, Clippers, Grizzlies? We kind of all had in the same bunch of very good. They could actually get hot and represent the West if they had to. They're not the elite, but they're almost there, and they're all kind of equally good in different ways. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, exactly. I said the Clippers at the beginning of the season. They were one of those teams that could be a 60-win team. I put the Grizzlies in that category. I put the Nuggets in the same category. They were all around, both, all team, the Nuggets won 57, both the Clippers and Grizzlies won 56 apiece, which is no easy feat to do in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference, which is very tough.
Well,
so I look at there right now, and, I'm saying after the Russell Westbrook injury, I was sitting there talking with some coworkers the other night, and they go, I honestly believe that, the winner of the Clippers-Grizzlies series is probably going to go to the NBA championship.
Whoa.
I think it's a strong possibility. That's, I didn't think that at first, but after watching what Memphis has done, I think there's a good possibility. I also don't count San Antonio out either. San Antonio is one of those teams. I think that's going to be a fantastic series with Golden State between San Antonio. And I think Memphis OKC or Memphis Houston or LA Clippers, OKC, I think no matter what, it'll wind up being a great series as long as Blake Griffin's healthy. If LA makes it, they need a healthy Blake to win it.
Yeah.
But, they're fighting for their lives right now. They're down 5 at the half. So we just have to wait and see what happens there.
All right. Well, it's been a busy couple of weeks, as I was saying before I brought you in. It's just been crazy with some of the other shows we've been having, and I've been slacking a little bit on the sports. But is there anything I've left out on that we haven't had a chance to communicate about? Any big news stories that we haven't? What about? All right. What about Tebow? Thoughts, real quick, on him.
Honestly, I'm glad the circus is over. We don't have to see the Jets on SportsCenter every day, at least hopefully. Honestly, ESPN's the one that created that circus, and it's their fault. I blame them entirely. And, I don't know why anybody cared so much about a 6-string quarterback. I'm trying to think, what was something big? Oh, yeah, it was the day Jason Collins came out last week. ESPN on the cover of SportsCenter, it was not Jason Collins representing, it was Tim Tebow released. And, I'm seriously thinking to myself, I go, a current NBA player comes out, and they're talking about the release of a 6-string quarterback. This is really the big news today.
Are you saying that Tim Tebow might come out? Am I inferring that properly?
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Zak Baris has just claimed. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Tim Tebow would never come out of the closet. He's spoken out. He's been in a bunch of anti-abortion, anti-gay. He's spoken out against them.
Let me ask you about that. Thank you about the Jason Collins thing, because that's more interesting than the Tebow thing anyway. What are your thoughts there?
I'm happy for him. I'm happy. It's about time. It happened in the NBA. I wish he would have done it a couple of years earlier, but I guess he wasn't ready. And it's nice he came out now. But you're talking about a 34-year-old center. Like I said, I think it's great that he came out. I think it's good for the league. But you have a 34-year-old center who shot 16% from the field last year.
Oh, 16.
16%. I'm just going from a pure basketball standpoint. I don't want any hate because of it. But that's why I wish it would have came out a few years ago.
No, you're clearly a racist and a homophobe because you're mentioning statistics of 16%. Obviously, Zach.
I'm saying though is if he doesn't get picked up by an NBA roster, by an NBA team,
right? Then all of basketball is homophobic.
You know, you're gonna wonder though, is it go, you know, because you're gonna have a lot of people in the gay community going, oh, he didn't get signed, it's homophobia. No team was willing to sign him. They didn't want him in their locker room. But if I'm an NBA GM. And my roster's filled out, I'm not looking for a 35-year-old backup center, who's had such poor production.
Well,
I'm going to go with someone younger on my bench, preferably. But now I can see another team signing him
just
next
for the
year.
publicity.
Re-signing with the Wizards. It brings a lot of publicity to the team. It looks really good for the NBA if someone's willing to do it. So it's not out of the question that he'll be on an NBA roster. I think had he not come out, I definitely don't think you would see him on an NBA roster next year. I mean, there would always be a possibility. But he had such a lack of production. If you look at his numbers over the past 3 years, they've been lacking. But he is a great locker room guy. And, he's apparently he's great to be around. He's a team leader. So this might be, it's a step forward in the NBA. I'll definitely say that. It's a step forward in all major sports.
Well,
he's willing to come out.
Good.
And he's received so much support from guys like Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson. He's received so much support from guys all over the league.
President Obama.
Yeah. But everybody's praising him so far. Of course, you've had the stupid comments come from guys like Mike Wallace on the Dolphins. Of course, he said something stupid the other day.
What was it with all these beautiful girls out here? I don't know why a man want to be up with another man. I don't get it. It wasn't the worst comment I've ever heard, but it's kind of dumb and untimely, I guess. No, I heard too.
It was just untimely,
Yeah, it was just
everybody.
Yeah.
At one point, I'm sure it goes through a lot of people's minds. They're thinking it, at the same time, but he can't help who he is. It's not like you choose to be gay. It's not a choice.
Can you choose to be stupid? Can Mike Wallace choose to be smarter?
I mean, if you're dumb, you're dumb.
Well, he did used to play for the Steelers, so no. But there were two theories on Jason Collins. Number one, that there's always a market for somebody, a 7-foot basketball player. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, even at 35.
He's still a good defensive presence. He's just not going to provide you with any offense whatsoever.
Right, but if you're the last man on the team, it's only injury upon injury where you'll get in there anyway, or in a fouling situation.
I hope to see he gets signed. I really do. I think someone will pick him up. But I'm saying, if he doesn't get picked up, it'll be from a pure basketball standpoint. It will be. I don't think we'll have anything to do with these gays.
Oh, sure, Zach. Easy for you.
35 years old next season.
Easy for you to say. Easy for you to say it's because of basketball. You're not gay. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what he faces.
Let's say if LeBron came out, and then he wasn't signed on the NBA roster, then we'd have a problem. And you go, okay, then definitely, it's homophobic.
Hang on, do we finally get a chance? Because I've done a lot of Cleveland sports radio over the past 2 years. And is this actually the first time we legitimately have to get to have a LeBron James is gay conversation where we're saying literally?
If a player of his caliber. That's what I'm saying.
No, dude, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. The other theory about Jason Collins, though, was that he is 35 years old. He's washed up, and he figured, hey, man, I'll get tons of publicity out of this. I could maybe squeeze another $1 million or $2 million on another year of contract if I can get some publicity out of this.
Not only that with the $1 million or $2 million. I mean, if he's on an NBA roster next year, you're going to see tons of companies picking him up for endorsements. He's going to receive millions in endorsements.
Chick-fil-A.
I don't know how much. Oh, definitely, I will see him on a Chick-fil-A billboard. I'm definitely expecting that one.
You know what? But that would be kind of cool if they did that. That'd be very interesting. That'd be very interesting if you got to see it. Oh, man.
I don't plan on running into Jason Collins at the Hollywood Chick-fil-A anytime soon.
Do they have one in West Hollywood?
No, they do not.
Okay, for those of you that don't know, we're just going to leave it at that. No, I mean, it is a big story, but for me, I guess the answer was I don't care. I didn't care. I
don't think it's that big of a deal. He's gay. I mean, he didn't come out for a reason, but it's not like it's a sin. It's not like he did something horrible here.
To the conservative Christians, it's a sin. To the conservative Bible-beating Christians, it's a sin.
I mean, yeah, some people view it that way. I don't. Everybody sins one way or the other. Everybody's done something wrong in their lifetime. So, I don't fault Jason Collins for being gay. I really don't. It's not his fault. It's not a choice. You know, there's a great South Park episode which basically explains the whole thing. It does such a good job at getting in there. It's the one where Butters was bi-curious. And they do such a good job of explaining. And after watching it, you can't just help yourself by going, wow, you know, I agree with them. I agree with Trey Parker and Matt Stone. You know, and you know, I hope it allows other people to come out in other sports, but at the same time, you don't want it to be a distraction in the locker room. You know, this stuff in the locker room shouldn't be brought up anyways.
Yeah, it shouldn't. But you know what? Wasn't it only a week before Jason Collins came out? Brittany Griner came out from Baylor. I don't think we talked about that.
Everyone in the WNBA is. I mean, it should be, you know, if she came out as straight, it would have been more of a surprise.
I said the same thing as a joke like a week or two ago. You know,
if she would have said she was straight, it would have been more of a surprise to everyone than, you know, I mean, it's always all the jokes, you know, there's always been hundreds of jokes about, you know, women in the WNBA, how, you know, and all the fans who go and see them. I'm not trying to say anything here, but all I'm saying is that, you know, it's you know, for a woman to come out, you know, especially a female athlete to come out, is no big deal because it's been happening for years since Billie Jean King in the 70s. Okay, you know, it's happened for years. You know, that has already been brought up. You know, women have been more accepting about it and people haven't. But we're talking about a major male sport here. You know, Brittany Griner is only set to make, you know, $50,000 a year in the WNBA.
Is there zero chance that an NBA team would take a flyer on bringing a woman in as a last player, just like they might take a chance to bring Jason Collins back?
The problem is the talent level is so like, I mean, there's such a vast level. There's such a vast difference in the talent level between Brittany Griner and the worst power forward in the NBA. I mean, I could sit there and, you know, you could sit there and put up. I'm trying to think who a horrible NBA player is. I don't want to, you know. Let's just take. Hey, I'm going to take a retired player. Brian Scalabrine would probably take her and beat her 11-0.
Didn't Scalabrine do that with somebody? I saw something on ESPN.
Well, that's why Scalabrine has the problem right now where a bunch of people come up and challenge him all the time.
Oh, that's got to
be annoying. And he's sick of it. So put Brian Scalabrine against Brittany Griner. He'll dominate her in one-on-one. You know, Scalabrine's still 6'9". You know, he's going to sit there and he would dominate her. And that's the problem is, yeah, Brittany Griner can dunk, but so can every other NBA player. You know, it's totally different. Yeah, she has an immense amount of talent for a female, but I guarantee you put her up there against any male, she's going to get clobbered. You know, I'd love to see her this summer play in the NBA Summer League. I would love to see it.
All right, so now, Zach, you're homophobic, you're racist, you're sexist, and so am I. That's what everybody's going to say because we're having these conversations. No, I mean, Mark Cuban, he came out and he was talking about it, right? He said that he would consider drafting.
I think it'd be great for the, you know, especially for the Summer League. And, you know, somehow she actually showed talent that she belongs in the NBA. Fine, put her on an NBA roster. If she's good enough, it's fine. I just don't think the talent level. I just don't think her talent level is good enough to play in the NBA. Let alone the D League. I think if you put her in D1A basketball, I don't even think she'd be able to compete very well.
Do you think she could play quarterback for the Jets?
I mean, anyone can play quarterback for the Jets.
As long as you're not named Tebow. No, I mean, you know, now that we bring this up, that there has been a lot of weird, just interesting NBA stories that came up in the past couple weeks here.
You know, and speaking about the gay thing, too, is Deadspin wrote an article a few weeks ago on NFL player Terry Rhodes of the Arizona Cardinals, the free safety for the Cardinals, you know, who had been productive with the Jets early in his career. He's still only I think he's in his late 20s now. And, you know, he's productive with Arizona, but he's a free agent. And, you know, all these pictures surfaced of him with his male assistant online. You know, the pictures indicate, you know, they would certainly indicate that someone was gay. You know, I mean, at least from what I've seen. And, you know, he went there and denied it. You know, I mean, it was about, you know, it was about as obvious as can be, and he went there and denied it. He should have just come out. You know, he's a free agent looking for a job. I think that would have been smart if he actually is gay and what the pictures indicated. You know, he probably should just come out.
Yeah, well, see, I guess maybe okay, let me make sure I phrase this properly. I don't know. I view it as a sign of progress that when our nation got our first half-black president and when Jason Collins became the first major sport athlete to come out as gay, I didn't care. I wasn't. It seemed normal. I'm like, okay, so, you know, there you go. Here's another thing that happened today. Good for that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that Jason Collins came out. He came out in a time where it's very accepting. Do I think this would have worked in the 70s or the 80s, maybe even the 90s? Probably not.
Probably not.
Today, you know, our culture is very accepting of it, and it's a good thing. You know, it should be equality for all. I think it's a good thing for sports. You know, you're not going to have to see a player anymore. You know, especially if Collins is signed, he's accepted in the locker room. You're not going to have to see, you know, I mean, I'm sure he's going to take some jaws if he isn't on an NBA team next year. You know someone's going to say something. It always happens. But
you mean drunk sports fans and testosterone raging
but
athletes could be
even
crass?
Players on the court, and players on the court, you're going to see someone say something. You know, I mean, you might take a hard foul here and there, but it's going to happen. But I mean, his sexual preference shouldn't have anything to do with his talent. You know. And it's a shame that it does, especially in our culture.
Yeah, who's that guy on the Ravens? What's that guy's name? Brandon Aiyembedejo. Isn't he still looking for a team?
Yeah, I mean, he's not gay. He's just all about gay rights.
You keep telling yourself that. But, yeah, because he was...
I mean, Scott Fujita is the same thing, though. Scott Fujita has been, you know, he's been basically the leader of it, too. You know, he's encouraged players to come out, you know. And Fujita's married with kids, and then Chris Cluey, the punter for the Minnesota Vikings, too. You know,
that's right.
I mean, it's just honestly, I'm just sick of hearing it all the time. You know, I wish these players would just come out, get it out in the open. You know, I think it's more accepting though in a basketball locker room than it is in a football locker room.
I only played intramural basketball. I did play football. I don't know that I could compare it necessarily. I don't know. I
think on the basketball court, I think it's a little bit more accepting. Football, I think it's a little bit different. You know, if players are going to come out, I would hope they just do it already so it's not even more of a distraction. But like I said in the first place, who cares what a player's sexual preferences? If he has talent, he has talent. I don't care whether it's, you know, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. I know they're both not gay, but if they are, who cares? You know, they're great players on the field. That's what I care about. I tend to think, you know, and this is basically going back to the early 2000s. You never used to hear about players' off-field activities. You never heard about it. Now all ESPN can talk about is, you know, basically the mentality of a player nowadays. You know, the reason Mark Sanchez stinks. You know, nobody would even be talking about him anymore. You know, if this is the case, if they didn't care about a player's mentality, and you know, everything's a mental issue with players now. Why they're terrible. So, you know, I'm so sick of hearing it. I just want to talk pure football again. You know, players who play well and players who don't. You know, that's what I want to talk about. Same with basketball. Is I don't want to hear about their off-court issues affecting their play on the court.
Hey,
you know, because that's all ESPN and some of these other sports networks focus on. It drives me nuts.
On a completely unrelated note, take a listen to this.
Come on up. Who's that? Oh, that's that reporter from NYU. She's finally going to do the interview. I told her to come up here so this way we wouldn't miss each other.
Do you want me to stay? Or?
Sure, I don't care.
This is Seinfeld, if you're not aware.
Hi.
The outing with Paula Marshall. And
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hi, I'm Jerry. Something the matter?
No, nothing.
You look familiar. Have we ever met?
I'm not sure. Have we?
You look familiar. Why don't we do this over here?
Oh.
This is George.
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you.
He's going to hang around if that's all right with you?
Sure, I'd like to talk to him, too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Oh, is that a problem?
No, I just hate my voice on tape. It always sounds so high and whiny.
Shall we start?
Fire away.
Okay, let's see. Are you just a comedian, or do you do anything else?
Well, right now, George and I are writing a pilot for NBC.
Oh, so you also work together?
Yeah.
Jerry, did you wash this pen?
Yeah, I washed it.
It looks like it hasn't been washed.
So wash it.
You hear the way he talks to me?
You should hear how my boyfriend talks to me.
What?
Hey, let me ask you something. What do you think of this shirt?
It's nice.
Jerry said he didn't like it.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I said it was okay.
Oh, you said you didn't like it.
Oh, well, so what if I don't like it? Is that like the end of the world or something?
So how did you two meet?
Oh, actually, we met in the gym locker room.
Yeah. Actually, it was in gym class. I was trying to climb the ropes, and Jerry was spotting me. And I kept slipping and burning my thighs. And then finally I slipped and I fell on Jerry's head. And we've been close ever since.
Do you guys live together?
Live together?
No, I got my own place.
Oh. And do your parents know?
No what?
My parents, they don't know what's going on.
Oh, God, you're that girl in the coffee shop that was eavesdropping on us. I knew you looked familiar.
Oh, no! No!
I better get going.
There's been a big misunderstanding here.
Yeah.
We did that whole thing for your benefit. We knew you were eavesdropping. That's why my friend said all that. It was on purpose. We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
I mean, it's fine if that's who you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, I have many gay friends.
My father's gay.
Look, I know what I heard.
Heard. It was a joke.
All right, look, you want to have sex right now? Do you want to have sex with me right now? Let's go. Come on, let's go, baby. Come on.
Hey, come on, let's go. I thought we were going to take a steam.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. They met in the locker room. Anyway, I couldn't help it, Zach. But
I love Seinfeld. It's my favorite show.
Absolutely. You know, and seriously, not that there's anything wrong with it. And I'm happy that I didn't care one way or another. What people do, that's up to them. And if there's, you know, there's a large portion of the country that feels, you know, that biblically there is something wrong. You know what? Then you have your personal beliefs. Let everyone else have their personal beliefs, and we'll figure it out when we pass in the next experience. I don't have time to waste on that garbage when I'm here. I just don't.
Exactly. You know, and it's, you know, people need to worry about themselves more than they need to worry about someone's preference in the bedroom. You know, as long as he can do his job on the court, that's what matters. It doesn't matter who his boyfriend is or who your girlfriend is, you know, off the court. You know, that stuff shouldn't even play into what players are doing on the court. It really shouldn't. So, you know, I applaud Jason Collins for coming out and, you know, being as strong as he was, being able to do that, because it could not have been an easy thing for him.
No.
And, you know, he held it in this long. But, you know, he's had a decent NBA career. You know, he's been in the league a long time. And, you know, he even said his brother was shocked. Ron Collins was shocked, too. He had no clue. You know, so, I mean, if your own brother
his ex-girlfriend,
know, you know,
his ex-girlfully didn't know. I mean, think about that.
You know, and they were together for 8 years. So, you know, it just says something about it. And, you know, hopefully everything comes out. But I can guarantee if he is on an NBA roster, his endorsements are going to be through the roof next season.
Yeah, probably double his salary. But,
I mean, I like I said, I don't know what company he'll be with. I don't, you know, but I tend to think that, you know, I mean, I think he has a small deal with Nike right now. I don't exactly know. But, you know, definitely his brand will definitely increase.
We do know definitely it will not be Chick-fil-A. That's the one thing we can be fairly certain of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the Westboro Baptist Church in Kansas.
Oh, Lord. Can a Baptist church... Hey, maybe Tebow. I don't know. I don't know how close they are.
I'm just afraid they're going to be protesting at games next year, and that's the last thing I want to see. I can't stand those people. You know, they drive me crazy.
You know what?
Protesting people and everything.
It's part of the purging process. Well, that was a triple alliteration, I guess. But it's novel for a minute, and then it wears off, and it's done. You know, I'm all for peaceful petition and assembly and whatever. Do your thing. Eventually, it's going to get boring, and then eventually we're over it. You know, but either way, I could care less. I'm sorry, I couldn't care less about it. But you know, what I am looking forward to is I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the NBA playoffs. So, Zach, maybe we should.
Yeah, it's been, especially the Western Conference playoffs. I'll say this: the Western Conference playoffs have been fantastic so far. Every series other than the Lakers Spurs has been fantastic. The three other ones have been great.
Well, maybe we shouldn't put how long has it been? 3 weeks since you've been on? Maybe we shouldn't put 3 weeks in between our chats.
Well, I mean, I haven't been able to talk the last couple of weeks. You know, I had to fly back to Cleveland twice. I've been on the road a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a couple family issues come up. You know, I had to, attend a funeral and stuff. But, you know, normally we don't wait 3 weeks in between shows, and, it probably won't happen again. But these last couple of weeks have just been, it's been a busy couple of weeks.
Well, just so you know, UFC is MMA on YouTube. He's been missing you. He's been coming over to my he came over to one of my agree to disagree programs to say, boring. Where's the NBA? I'm like, come on, man. It was funny. But, we do have people that listen, and it is pretty cool. And, you're always welcome on the program. It should be an interesting couple of weeks. I'm rooting for anyone but the Miami Heat to win. It's very simple where my rooting interests lie. Anyone but the Heat.
I tend to think they're going to win, but I honestly believe now whether if Memphis or San Antonio gets to the championship, I think it'll be a very, very entertaining series, to say the least.
As long as Miami
I still put Miami as the front runner. I do, but at the same time, I still think, like I said at the beginning of the playoffs, if Oklahoma City was healthy, I think they would be in the championship this year if they were healthy, and I think they'd probably be there next year too. Now, granted, I think Miami would probably beat them all 3 years, including last year. But this will give us some variety in the playoffs this year, by probably not seeing Oklahoma City. Now, granted, they can still make it. I just don't think they will. I don't think they're going to be able to hold on. I don't think they have the firepower unless Durant goes out for 45 a night.
But look,
or Kevin Martin can actually start shooting.
Hey, but hold on. Imagine the Miami Heat without LeBron James. That's a different team. But
LeBron
happen.
James is 100% healthy.
I'm just saying. Westbrook goes down. Kobe goes down. They're done. Like surgeries. Like you never know what can happen. I guess that's why you just keep lacing up the shoestrings and keep going. You never know.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree completely with that statement. You never know what can happen. Can Miami win without Dwayne Wade? I still think they can easily win the Eastern Conference without Dwayne Wade. Without LeBron, no.
Without Dwayne, they could. Without LeBron, no.
I mean, they basically. I mean, they were winning games last year when Dwayne Wade wasn't playing. I remember Bosh missed a few games here and there last year. It was a rough series. They struggled a lot, but LeBron was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were struggling big time in the Eastern
Pacers
Conference,
Celtics
had
him wobbly. Pacers Celtics had him wobbly.
Pacers had him up. They were up 2-1 on the Heat. And the Pacers just couldn't. That was just poor efficiency. I still remember. I remember saying this is a team that operated with such little efficiency on the offensive end last year, which was cost Indiana the series. I think they would have won it had they been able to, score the basketball a little bit. They took a lot of bad shots, a lot of deep three-pointers. They're not a three-point shooting team. They didn't get the ball to Hibbert enough, and Miami took advantage of it, and they were able to beat Indiana. And that was the problem. In Boston last year, it just looks like they ran out of gas. They were up 3-2 in that series, and they had it in the bag, and then they lost it. I honestly, at one point last year, I was like, you got to be kidding me. I remember I was thinking, I was like, Miami, seriously? I was like, Boston, seriously going to go to another championship?
Yeah. Well, I'd want anyone but the Heat. I'm going to reiterate that. I'm putting that intention out there to the universe. Anyone but the Heat. I will root for anyone but the Heat. So, we'll see.
Who you're rooting for, then.
Yeah, anyone but the Heat. It's no surprise, though. But anyway, Zach, thank you so much for joining us again. We're going to skedaddle. I'm going to get a chance. Right now, Memphis is up by 8 over the Clippers, and OKC's up by 4 over Houston at the half. So, hey, we'll watch the rest of these games, and we'll connect again next week. See how these how the matchups are going to shake out for the next round. Then, all right.
All right, thanks again for having me on.
Hey, thanks, Zach. Take care. Everybody, make sure you follow him on Twitter. He's at Z Baris. That's Z-B-A-R-I-S. Thank you again, Zach. Yeah, it's always a good time. Yeah, I like the NBA playoffs. I found this old picture of me with my cousins when we were in cousins from California. I'm from Ohio. We were in Pennsylvania at some family with the grandparents. And I got this old picture. I don't know how old I am, 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old or something. And I got my old Cavaliers T-shirt on with the high-top socks. Like the ankles. Wait, they're like going up to almost to my knee. Somewhere in the middle with the stripes on them. I don't know. It reminded me that I've been a Cavs fan since a long time ago. Definitely the Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance, Craig Elo, Hot Rod Williams, all those players during those times. I've been a big basketball fan all this time. I played football in high school, but I played intramural basketball. And we won the championship in intramural basketball, which was sweet. More so because I helped put together a really good team as like the team manager. I played, but I put really good people on the team. But I've always played basketball. It's always been one of my favorite sports. As the summers, as it starts getting warmer and it stays light later. Me and my buddy Mike, he lived across the street from me in Ohio, and we'd shoot hoops for hours and 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 hours. turn the lights on outside, hours and hours. I mean, as late as we could stay up, we'd be shooting hoops and playing one-on-one and playing horse. And it's, I don't know, it brings me back looking at those pictures and thinking about it. But yeah, definitely. I'm gonna let you guys go. We're gonna get to watching some of the games, see what else there is to see. And definite special thanks to Zak Baris for joining us on today's program. I want to thank Stuart Rhodes, founder of Oath Keepers, who was on our Agree to Disagree program. Actually, I think one of the segments will be split up in post-production to be for the Unhappy Hour because they are sponsoring a NASCAR that's going to be racing Earnhardt. Jeffrey Earnhardt, I believe, is going to be the grandson of Dale Earnhardt. He's going to be driving the Oath Keepers car at Talladega tomorrow, so check that out. Special thanks to him as well. So, for everybody here at the New American Media, thank you so much for participating. Follow us on Twitter. We're at American_media_. Search the New American Media on Facebook and like our page. On YouTube.com/the New American Media. Subscribe. Check out the homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. For now, I'm Brian Engelman. Thank you for checking us out. Thank you for 2 great years. Great birthday celebration last week. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Peace.
You are listening to the New American Media.